Hi, I'm reading out of the set of books that I have. This is volume 5 of the Bible story. Uh, if you've been watching, uh, these books are 70 years old. I mean, literally. And they barely have been cracked open. So, we are in now part 4 of our glorious book, number 5. We have a painting here by Fred Collins, and I'm going to show you it in just a second. Now, watch your heart. Some of you may say, oh no, but it looks sad. But yeah, it looks sad for a reason, because the story is sad. There's the illustration. Let me get it more center. Okay. The caption reads, when Hosea, Hosea, king of Israel, turned to Baal instead of to the true God for help in the siege of Samaria, the Assyrians broke down the gates and drove all the people out into captivity. Oh, my tongue gets tied. And I'm sorry y'all have to put up with my horrible reading, but that's what I got to do. And of course, these books are so old that some of the image gets printed on the other page. Faintly, but it's on there. So we're at part 4, story 1, why Israel fell. Okay? It was just a little while, a few short years after that powerful Passover in Jerusalem, that Samaria fell to the Assyrians and the kingdom of Israel came to an end. Hosea, Hosea was on the throne. Hoshea. Hosea was on the throne, the last king of Israel. Like all who reigned before him, he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. Okay, here's a funny name. Shalmaneser. 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 Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, had asked Hosea for a very large sum of money. Unable to pay it, he had turned from help to not he turned for help, not to God, but to the king So of Edom. So King So, Pharaoh So. This was a great mistake, and not only was King So unable to help him, but that King Shalmaneser heard what he had done, and he was furious. Marching on Samaria with a huge army, he surrounded the city. The siege lasted 3 days, and many of the people inside died of starvation. This time there was no Elisha, with the S, to come to the rescue, nor did any chariots of the Lord draw near to frighten away the invaders. No doubt Hosea and his people cried to Baal to deliver them, but no help came. It was the final proof to the people of Israel how worthless were all the idols they had worshipped. At last, everybody was too feeble to resist any longer. The gates of the city were broken open, and the Assyrians' soldiers rushed in. Many people were put to death, and the rest were carried away into captivity. 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 My mouth gets crazy. Sorry for my reading. The same thing happened in every city and village of Israel. For the king of Assyria came upon throughout all the land and carried away Israel away to Assyria and placed them in Hala and in Harbor by the river of Gozan. Hala, Halah, and in Habor, it's Habor, Habor, by the river Gozan, Gozan, and in the cities of Medes. 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 I know where that is. About the Medes and the Persians. See, my tongue's getting tired. It was sad. It was a sad, sad ending for what could have been a glorious history. In little more than 200 years, Israel had fallen from its place among the greatest and richest nations on the earth to a scattered group of wretched, poverty-stricken captives. In just 200 years, they have lost everything: their land, their homes, their furniture, their cattle, their money, their honor. They had nothing left of all that God had given them. And why? Because they turned away from God, the God of heaven, from Jeroboam to Hosea. Yeah, Hosea. Just 20 kings sat on the throne of Israel, and every one of them was a rebel against God. Every one of them worshipped Baal and let the people do evil. For so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against their Lord their God, against the Lord their God, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt, and walked in the statutes of the heathen, whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel. And the children of Israel did secretly sorry. And the children of Israel did secretly those things that were not right against the Lord their God. And they set up images and groves in every high hill, and under every green tree, and there they burnt incense in all the high places, as did the heathens whom the Lord carried away before them, and wrought wicked things to provoke the Lord to anger. For they served idols. Therefore the Lord had said to them, Ye shall not do this thing. Time and again, God was pleased with them to turn from their wickedness. Pleaded. Okay. God had pleaded with them to turn away from their wickedness. He had sent Elijah, Elisha, and other prophets to them, saying, Turn ye from your evil ways, and keep my commandments and my statutes. But they had hardened their necks, like the necks of their fathers, that they did not believe in the Lord their God. And then down at the bottom, it's a 2-pager, and it has another representation of Baal on here. And they're taken away down here at the bottom. That's what it looks like. The illustration. Okay. Okay. Oh, this is sad. This illustration is sad, but I'll wait on that. And they left all the commandments of the Lord their God, and made them molten images, even two calves, and made a grove, and worshipped all the host. Okay, and made a grove, and worshipped all the host of heaven, and served Baal. And they caused their sons and daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. Therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel, and removed them out of his sight. Had Israel remained true to God, wherefore blessings would have been theirs. They would have enjoyed great honor and riches. They would have been protected from the Assyrians and all their enemies. They would have been respected by all the nations for their good deeds and sincerity. Their cities and their villages would have been models of order, beauty, and prosperity for all the world to copy. But now, lashed by the whip of their conquerors, naked, barefooted, and starving and destitute, they stumbled along the long, hard trail to captivity. What a mistake they had made! What a price they had to pay for turning away from God! And has an illustration of them marching, very, very huge line, and then the angel turning her face, or turning his face. That's the illustration. That's why I said, oh, it's so sad, because the angel turned the face from them. Okay, that, like I always start, that is part 4, story 1. We're about to take a break, or I'm about to take a break, and then I'll get ready for the next story. Be back in a minute.